Let's have an honest discussion about the Boise State and Oregon game, because I gave them grace. I'm talking them as in Oregon. I gave them grace for what happened in week 1 against Idaho, even though I probably shouldn't have. This is a team that I was very high on. I didn't want to just, kind of blow them off. You get those weird games because it wasn't like, Dylan Gabriel turned the ball over at a high percentage. It wasn't like they were super, super sloppy on some of their plays. I think it's just one of those weird games of college football. Then you have Boise State, and I predicted that they would win by 18.5, and they win by 3 in a close game. I understand Boise State's really damn good. They were my pick for the group of 5 playoff team, but I just thought with the environment that Oregon was going to come in as, with not only being a favorite, but Dan Lanning having them prepared and as electric as they probably will be for the foreseeable future until they play like Ohio State, that Oregon was going to just dominate. And that's not what happened. And so you begin to wonder, maybe Oregon was a little overrated coming into it. I hate doing the whole overrated, underrated thing, but like this team defensively, I thought, with Dan Lanning being the defensive coordinator from Georgia, that the offense was always going to be all right. Evan Stewart finally had a breakout game. Dylan Gabriel, I don't even think plays bad. Like he's going to have an incredible completion percentage just because this offense is super quarterback friendly. We saw it with Bo Nix, right? Like super, super quarterback friendly. Just get the ball in the playmaker's hands. But defensively, as good as Ashton Jeanty is, and that dude is solidified in the Heisman race. Do not argue with me on that. You begin to wonder, man, can this defense start, actually stepping up to the plate and dominating these games? I think as we look at this game, it's so, I'm not trying to box score watch, but I'm also trying to give context to some of the things that we saw, because this is just one of those games where, yeah, I was objectively really wrong in this. Ashton Jeanty is a dog. Like, he is the number 1 running back in this class right now, number 1 running back in the nation. But would you believe me if the quarterback for Boise State was 17 of 40 and they only lost by 3? It's not good enough. I don't know if it's, I'm even trying to find out, because I wasn't able to watch the full game. At some point you have to go to bed. If it's the lack of high percentage on third downs, I don't know if it's the inefficiency at the running attack, because they ran the ball more than Boise State and had over 100 yards less. The penalties are high. You have 2 fumbles. It's sloppy play. It's sloppy play. And Dan Lanning said it himself. There's a lot to learn from this game, but as someone that was very high on Oregon State, now the red flags are building up. It's not just Idaho, and you can chalk it up and be like, hey, listen, I get it. It's biased, but it's Idaho. You get weird games every once in a while. No, this is back-to-back games where you should step up to the plate and be better than what you be better. I mean, just objectively, they have the Civil War next week. I'm not expecting Oregon State to be that good, but it's a rivalry game. I'm not going to try to discredit that. You got Michigan State in a couple weeks, but then it's Ohio State, and that's your marquee matchup. That is the big game of the year. I'm concerned about Oregon. Shout out to Boise State. They're still my pick for the group of 5 to make it to the college football playoff, so I feel better about that. Ashton Jeanty looks incredible. He is going to get his own video if he keeps up this play. I mean, 9 touchdowns in 2 games, over 600 yards rushing. It's incredible what he is doing for this team. Oregon has to be better. I thought I'd have a lot more to say. It's just objectively they have to be better. It's a not one of those losses you go in feeling better, or you leave feeling better than you did coming in. And that's what I wanted them to do, was dominate this game physically, be able to make plays at everything across the board, be better than what you were the last week. And so far they've only been Idaho and Boise State by a combined 17 points. That's egregious.